Man, Donald Trump's gonna go to Washington and he's gonna fight for us. I'm standing there thinking to my mind, you dumb motherfucker. You are poor. He's fighting for me. And they all looked at me. They could tell who I was voting for just as easily as I voted that day, and then that same day I flew to New York City. I had work. That night I was in a comedy club in New York, and I said to an audience almost exactly what I just said to you. And I didn't know that there was a journalist in the room. And this journalist wrote an article. The headline of the article said, Dave Chappelle is an avid Donald Trump supporter. Yeah, I had no idea the paper said that. And you know how I found out? My wife called me from Ohio the next morning in a goddamn panic. David, what the fuck is going on in New York? I said, I'm being good, but what have you heard? And my wife said, the paper is saying that you're a Donald Trump supporter. I was like, whew. I said, don't worry about that shit, baby. Nobody in their right mind would believe that. And she said, no, David, people believe it. And then she started reading the comments to me. Oh, they were terrible. All these black people calling me all kinds of Uncle Toms and shit. I should tell you, buddy, this is a very serious allegation from one black to another. I was incensed. Uncle Tom? How am I Uncle Tom, nigga? You the one that reads the Observer? Anyway, all this shit goes down, and Saturday night rolls around, and now Trump is the president, and I'm hosting Saturday Night Live. And I didn't really prepare my monologue. I just kind of winged it. And at the end of the monologue, I don't even remember what I said. I said something like, fuck it, we're historically disenfranchised, and we're gonna give him something about we're gonna give him a chance if he gives us a chance. I don't know what I said, but whatever I said, I really wish I didn't say that shit. Tell who they were voting for. But do you guys know what we all had in common? Not one of us, not a single one of us, looked like we felt good about what we had to do in that booth. We were just doing our goddamn duty. Yes, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Of course I did. I voted for her because I liked what she said vastly better than I liked what he said. But to be honest with you, at that point, that shit was like watching Darth Vader do the I Have a Dream speech. That bitch is mean as hell. She'd already Karate Kid swept Bernie Sanders' legs from underneath him. Boy, it was hard voting for that shit. But it was the lesser of the evils. I know you were a Clinton supporter, Miss. I am sorry to say like that. It didn't feel bad voting for her, but it didn't feel as good as it should have. She was gonna be our first woman president. They were gonna make coins out of this bitch. And somehow she just missed the dunk. Of course she should have beat him. Of course she should have beat him. You know what voting for her felt like? It was bittersweet. It felt like I was lucky enough to eat Halle Berry's pussy. And whilst I was doing so, she fucking farted in my face, man. You understand, I'd still do it. But boy, I wish she didn't fart in this great nation's face. Didn't stop working. I had to watch fucking Key and Peele do my show every night.
Fuck the Daily Bongo is what I said. I went to Oscars and had a wonderful time. I went in that fucking green room. It was filled with so many stars, I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. Hollywood was seducing me all over again. I was sitting back there, I'm smoking, drinking with the stars. And then 2 Hollywood movie producers came over right to me. Oh my God, Dave Chappelle, said the leader one. He was obviously gay. Some guys you can just tell. The other one seemed like a money guy, like maybe he was from Texas or some shit. But the gay one was definitely the leader, because he did all the talking. And then he hit me with, so David, do you have any movie ideas that you would like to pursue? The truth is, I don't. But if you know the game, you're not supposed to tell motherfuckers you don't have ideas. I was like, yeah, man, I got plenty of ideas. And he called my bluff. Really? Like what? Huh? Oh. And then I just started making up shit that I thought maybe he'd like to see. I said, I have a superhero idea. He goes, really? I go, yeah, he's a gay superhero. He was like, really? What's it called? Huh? Oh, it's called Same Hero, New Boots. It's about a gay sous chef in San Francisco. He gets bit by a radioactive rat on his shift when he's taking out the trash, and is blessed with powers beyond his wildest dreams. Supersonic, gay kind of powers. And he starts saving everybody in San Francisco. But at first, he only saves gay people. Later, he saves everybody, and the whole city just falls in love with him. The only problem is, no one remembers him when he saves them. Well, I don't understand. Why wouldn't they remember him? I said, because, dummy, he's gay. He keeps changing his outfit. People come up, thanks for saving, mister. What's your name anyway? And he's like, same hero, new boots, and that motherfucker flies away. He was like, I like it a lot. The Texan didn't like that shit at all. He was upset. That's impossible, gay superhero. I said, what? Well, I have others. I have a superhero you love because he's stronger than Superman and he fights for truth, justice, and the American way like Superman, but more than Superman. He beats up Mexicans for no reason. The Texan's like, you got my attention. I was like, man, this motherfucker is so strong, he can fly and do all this great shit. Only problem with this guy is he can't even activate his powers unless he touches a woman's vagina. Not a long touch, just a couple of pats. He said, well, what's the problem with that? I said, well, the problem, sir, is that our hero is not, he's not a handsome man. And he's often short on cash. So whenever trouble breaks out, he has to run around the city and convince women to let him pat their vaginas. Please, miss, that building's on fire. Can I pat your vagina quickly? People are dying, but he can't tell them exactly why. Ugh, get away, you're gross. Please, miss, people are dying. Just a couple of pats. Ugh, gross, get away. So he rapes them. I know. That's the dilemma for the audience. Because he rapes, but he saves a lot of lives. And he saves way more than he rapes, and he only rapes to save. But he does rape. I didn't realize it, but the whole green room was looking at us. All the celebrities were disgusted. Oh. That guy from Texas was like, here's my card. Call me on Monday. That worked out. The second time I met O.J. Simpson, was right after the trial of the century. There I was, now a young man of probably 23. O.J. Simpson was the most famous or infamous face on planet Earth. I was in a restaurant in Beverly Hills with my agents. I wasn't alone in the restaurant, but I was alone. I was the only black person in the restaurant. And in the 90s, that felt very uncomfortable. Now I tend to enjoy it at this age. I was having dinner with my agents, celebrating a deal that they told me was lucrative, but I later learned fucking sucked. And suddenly, a group of women walked by. Every race was in that group. Black, white, Asian, Latina, white, and white again. They were all gorgeous. I watched them walk by. Then, I saw a familiar face. Al Collins, the man from the infamous Bronco chase, walked by and embraced one of the women, and they walked towards the door. Couldn't believe what I saw. And then, close behind him, was O.J. Simpson, newly released from jail. The restaurant fell still. I was shocked. I didn't mean to say it out loud, but it just came out. O.J. He stopped, turned around to see who said it, saw my black face, and correctly assumed it was me. I was sitting in the corner of the booth. He leaned over all the white people I was having dinner with and shook my hand. How are you, young man? He looked in my eyes, and I could see in his eyes that he didn't remember meeting me the first time. And then he walked away. And I looked back at my agents, and all of them had nothing short of disgust on their faces. And the only one with the courage to voice their disgust was a woman named Sharon, who used to represent me. How could you, she said. How could you shake hands with that murderer? I said, Sharon, with all due respect, that murderer ran for over 11,000 yards. And he was acquitted, so, you know, fuck it. Glove didn't fit. Glove didn't fit. Get over yourself. Some people can't do that. Some people just can't get over themselves. Gay people have a hard time doing that recently. Here we go. Here comes the deep water. No, recently I've noticed that. I noticed that with that Manny Pacquiao controversy. Yeah, no, it was now in the gay community's defense. Manny Pacquiao said some outlandish shit about gay people. Very, very not nice things that I won't repeat, but there was biblical verses and some analogies to animals. Wasn't a good look. Nike took his shoes immediately, which I thought was a little harsh. A little harsh. You know what I mean? Because he's just because he's Asian. You know what I mean? Fuck, you gonna take shoes off Asian dude to appease a gay dude? You know what I mean? No, you don't know what I mean. But Asian people kind of know what I mean. No? No Asians in the front? No? No, this is what I mean. Okay, look. Okay, you're an Asian dude. No, I say this with no disrespect, but we're all Americans, right? And we can agree that America has a huge body count all over the world, but nowhere more than Asia. Literally, if you look at history, recently, we have bombed the masculinity out of an entire continent. We dropped 2 atomic bombs on fucking Japan, and they've been drawing Hello Kitty and shit ever since. There's a lot of lady boys in the wake of our bombs. And I know these things because my wife is Asian. She's Filipino. All right, well, okay, so that explains it. Now you know why you see me at all those Filipino events. I'm not there picking up pussy, I'm dropping some off. I take my wife to all that shit. I took my wife to see Pacquiao fight Mayweather. We sat ringside, okay? That was a quiet car ride home. That's what that was. But if you know what's popping in the Philippines, you know that they got a whole generation of kids in the Philippines growing up without their mothers. Yes, a lot of women in the Philippines go to the Arabian Peninsula, they come to the United States, they make all their money here, they send all that money back home, which is still one of the #1 staples in the Philippines economy, money that their expats send back to the Philippines. The men, on the other hand, are left rearing children, twiddling their thumbs, waiting on their wives' checks. These men have been fucking emasculated. And then suddenly, a boxer rises from amongst them and reinstates their manhood with his motherfucking fist. This is not the guy you're supposed to ask, what do you think of homosexuals? He's not your champ. Shit. That's why I don't have a sneaker deal, because if you say something that people don't like, they'll take your fucking shoes off. If Martin Luther King had a sneaker deal, we'd still be on the back of the bus. They always true, the Nike executive come up, hi, Martin, we need you to tone down the talk of civil rights and blacks being humans. It's upsetting our southern distributors. But I don't understand. I thought that's why I had a sneaker deal in the first place. Not quite. Really, it's a walking shoe, and we like the marching, but try to understand. Fuck that shit. You know, I get it, though. I understand why gay people are mad, and I empathize. You know what? I'm just telling you, this is a black dude. I support your movement. But if you want to take some advice from a Negro, pace yourself. These things take a while. Just because they passed the law doesn't mean they're going to like it. Brown versus the Board of Education was in 1955. Somebody called me a nigga in traffic last Wednesday. It's so long, it takes a minute. My wife's friend, Stuart, told me that. My wife has a lot of gay friends. Stuart's their leader. She has a lot of gay friends. And I don't like them. Not because they're gay, I'm just judging them on the merits of their character. They're just not nice dudes. They're fucking rude house guests. They're sitting on my couch, giggling with my wife, eating my motherfucking macaroons. And I come in, they act like the party's over. Hey, Stuart, what's going on? This guy talks to me the way a cat would speak if a cat could talk. Hi, David. Stuart, what's all the beef, man? What's going... He always wants to have some kind of gay political argument. The last one was about a petition in federal court to take the words husband and wife out of the law. I said, well, why would you want those words out the law? He said, because it discriminates against same-sex couples. I was like, niggas, please save me the semantics. Just trust me, take your chips and get the fuck out of the casino. You're about to crap out. Just go outside, talk that over amongst yourselves, and whichever one of you is gayer, that's the wife. No, Stuart didn't like that. Stuart educates me about this movement, you know what I mean? I didn't even know shit about it. He told me it's called LBGTQ. I was like, what the fuck is the Q? Does that even make sense, Q? Turns out Q is like the vowels. That shit is sometimes Y.